Good afternoon and welcome to the late edition of the Daily Fix. I am your usual host, Advocate Tudo Hoyane. From now onwards, we are going to have two editions, one in the morning edition, and the late edition, which will come in the afternoon. Let us get into the business of the day right away. Let us look at the government of national unity. Cracks are beginning to appear again. There is just no unity in the government of national unity. Let us take, for instance, foreign policy. You will recall that President Ramaphosa has just been attending a BRICS conference in Russia, the expanded BRICS. The ANC has always taken the position historically, ever since when it was a liberation movement, to align itself with Russia. And the President, Cyril Ramaphosa, asserted that, South Africa will always be on the side of Russia, so to speak, in international affairs. That was one side of the story as far as the ANC goes. On the other hand, the DA will have nothing to do with that. The DA has always perceived Russia to belong to the other camp, to the Eastern Bloc. The DA has always aligned itself with Western interests. It will have nothing to do with Russia. Now, there is a huge, crack in terms of how the two major parties in the government of national unity look at a crucial international relations issue. There is simply no agreement there. And yet, the government of national unity hobbles on. The chariot just keeps on moving on, in spite of the glaring differences that we see between the two major parties forming the government of national unity. This weekend, the ANC will be holding the National Executive Committee of the ANC will be meeting. Among some of the things that they're going to debate is this issue of, where do they stand on issues like, Russia and so on and so forth. The ANC, on the other hand, has clearly aligned itself through its foreign policy to the cause of the Palestinian people. On the other hand, the DA is not there at all. At best, the DA, say will remain neutral in all this, but all chances are the DA is on the side of Israel. Two diametrically opposed positions. And yet here we are talking about the government of national unity. So this weekend, the National Executive Committee of the ANC will be meeting, and they'll be sorting out a number of issues. Some of them are like, there's another, issue which is a bone of contention between the parties, the Bella Act. The Bella Act, under the Bella Act, the DA is adamant that school governing bodies must have the final say on language policies in schools. The ANC, on the other hand, wants to take away that authority from the school governing bodies and vest it in the Minister of Education or the government. So there's another fundamental difference there, which the two parties will have to resolve. It is encouraging from what I'm seeing around me that they are trying to come up with a dispute resolution mechanism that will, made up of all the leaders of all political parties within the GNU, that will attend to, differences as and when they arise. But my real concern is, it's there are fundamental differences. Helen Zille continues to remind the ANC that it did not win the election. She's adamant that the ANC still thinks it has won the election and keeps on reminding the ANC that you did not win the elections. This is why we are in government with you. We are an equal partner. On the other hand, the ANC seems to think that, it is the lead partner in the government of national unity, such that it can determine policy without very little consultation with the other members of the GNU, especially the DA. And the DA will have none of this. And Helen Zille keeps on saying it over and over again. And Mbalula keeps on saying that, the DA wants to micromanage the president. In such a toxic atmosphere, how then does, good governance, all these policies that we want to see implemented, how does everything happen within such a, toxic state of affairs? The DA and the ANC have to come to some kind of agreement. They have to sit down together, form a common agenda around crucial policies. They need not agree on everything, but we cannot have it such that every time President Ramaphosa is on an international visit and assess South Africa's support for Russia, and then we see a member of the same government of national unity saying, what is this all about? There needs to be a common, approach to issues of governance. And like I'm saying, they don't have to agree on everything. But at least they must be seen to be united. After all, they term this a government of national unity. But you see, the most disturbing thing for me is you don't see much unity here. You see more disunity or divisions than you see unity. And for the sake of, this country not being perceived as another banana republic, we must be seen to be moving in tandem if we are to make any success of this government of national unity. My view is that this is the best option that we have on the table, and we must just make it work. If it cannot work, I don't see any other thing working. Let us wait and see how what comes out of the National Executive Committee meeting of the ANC this weekend, and see how moving forward the ANC and the DA can resolve all these differences. We cannot have two major parties in the government of national unity singing from two different hymn books, sending out different messages, conflicting messages, which just confuse South Africans. It is really confusing to have all these different viewpoints and positions being taken by the parties when supposedly they are in one government. Having said this, let me thank you very much for watching my videos. Let me thank you very much for the subscriptions that keep on rolling in. I'm very encouraged by all this. Please, please, please kindly subscribe, and I'll bring you more news, at least 2 editions per day. Thank you very much for watching.